You unveiled a uniform combination today. I know you had talked about uniforms before. It's such a hot button topic for fans. What was the thought process behind that and then using it here for the first time?
So we met with our captains just a few weeks ago, and for me, I'm about getting input from everybody. I meet with our staff, and it was an opportunity to meet with our captains and just learn about what we can do to make things better from their perspective. And we got on the topic of uniforms, which, if you don't know, is a multi-year process to actually change from a league standpoint. But we have flexibility in our tops and our bottoms, and that was one thing they pointed out they'd not been able to do and wanted the opportunity to do it. And we said, well, look, we're going to London. They drive on the opposite side of the road. We can flip our pants and see how it goes.
Like this whole operation, getting the team over here, can you just kind of give us a sense of what goes into that and kind of how many different layers of the organization it touches?
So playing a game internationally, on the one hand, it's an away game. So there's a lot of things that are very similar. But on the other hand, it's different, right? You're traveling many number of miles, many time zones. And so you do things like get here early. We had to send an advance team, but I think we had something like 20,000 pounds of equipment we shipped over. Some we put on pallets on boats that got out here early. So there's a lot of things and a lot of coordination involved. I think we have over 200 staff here this week, which is more than we would for a normal away game. So while there are a lot of things that are similar, there's a number of things that are different about it. Our focus is certainly how do we support the team, give them opportunities to be successful, but then also use as an opportunity to connect with our fans here locally. We've got a number of fans locally. Our business partners we bring out as well and give them an opportunity as well.
Damani, when you look at someone from a unique position, you worked for NFL International for so long, having the Broncos out here, what does this mean for this team and really for the expansion of the brand internationally?
Yeah, so clearly our focus, number one, is on our fan base in Denver, in Colorado, but we definitely want to grow. We talk about Broncos country. It's borderless, it may not even be a country, it's global. And so we've got, I think, 25,000 fans on Facebook from the UK. And so we're going to have some events for them over the course of the weekend. We'll be at a pub downtown. Just a really good opportunity to connect with them. I've met a few. We saw some in the airport. I met one yesterday in the hotel gym. And for them, this is their first and for many, their only opportunity to see a regular season Broncos game live and interact. And that's really important for us. And I take that seriously.
Damani, how inevitable do you think it is that the NFL will expand at some point into Europe?
In my previous role, I get this question quite a bit. In our responsibility, the NFL office here in London and in Germany now, responsibility is grow the fan base, ensure that if and when an ownership or the league wants to expand, that there's enough fans to support it and there's a business community that can support it from a commercial perspective. And I think that's the responsibility of the league. And when expansion happens, if expansion happens, is something that I certainly don't control in my previous role or my current role, but definitely understand the passion of the fan base over here is significant and material.
Having just done the logistics of the Broncos coming here in expansion, do you feel like it's logistically possible for all the teams in the States?
It's certainly challenging. Yeah, I don't think anybody would argue with that it's definitely challenging to do it. There's teams with professional franchises in Canada, and that comes with its challenges and opportunities. But I think it's challenging. But I think teams and leagues are looking to grow globally, and you have to confront those and at least engage in it intellectually to figure out if it's possible.
Damani, over the first few months of being here, how has your working relationship with ownership kind of developed, and how often are you talking with Greg and Carrie and Rob and the rest of the group?
I interact with the ownership group on a daily basis. So Rob, Greg, Carrie, incredibly engaged, whether it's in person in the office, over the phone, email, text, all of the above. They're incredibly engaged about what I'm doing, about what we are doing as an organization, but also our staff and wanting to know how do we make things better. And so when we talk about making the Broncos the best club to cheer for, play for, and work for, we absolutely believe it, and they care about it, and they ask a lot of questions about it.
When you have struggles on the field, I know you're not involved in the football part of it, but how does that affect your job, and what have you seen, I guess, from fan response, fan engagement, over the course of a slow start on the field?
Yeah, so one of the things we do is we play a home game, and within 48 hours, we've collected all the data, we put it on a dashboard, share it with ownership, and we're tracking everything from when fans arrive, when fans leave, how many hot dogs we're selling and how many people are watching, how we're doing on social media. We monitor that all season long, and we meet as a senior staff and talk about what are we doing to make things better. Everything from fan egress to the parking lot, all of those things. So So broadly, we're focused on making every game as good as it can be, driveway to driveway for our fans. Obviously, I don't control what happens on the field, but am aware of it. And my message to our staff is understanding what's happening. We've got to continue to work harder to earn and maintain the excitement and enthusiasm of our fans. We're incredibly lucky. I mean, we've got 70,000 fans who show up every game, and so we're incredibly blessed, but we don't take it for granted.
Damani, what surprised you the most about this job now being on the team side and in your role in the first couple of months?
I'd say for the most part, everything has matched my expectations. I knew coming in here, we have a tremendous legacy brand of championships and Hall of Famers. We all just saw that last weekend, which was a very special weekend. I'd say probably the biggest surprise is just being noticed. You know, I'll be in the grocery store, I'll be in King Soopers, and someone will come up and say, "Hey, welcome to Denver," and which is both nice and comforting, but it also is a subtle reminder that fans know who you are, fans care about this franchise, and are expecting big things.
Damani, I know you said you're not in the day-to-day football operations with that, but when big talks come up with football, like in the next week potentially trading a big player, do you get involved in that, and what's your role in that?
I will not be involved in that.
Damani, when you talk about, you got 70,000 fans that come to a game, you all the hot dog sales, everything, what is more significant, I guess, do you guys consider more, those 70,000 that show up or the 5,000 no-shows that aren't coming?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I think we're very well positioned in terms of the number of no-shows we have relative to the rest of the league. So feel good about that. Nobody wants any no-shows, but I think that's also not real or realistic in terms of what we can expect from fans. And so things happen, things come up in people's lives, and they can't come to a game. But I think we're very well positioned relative to the rest of the league.
I've been doing this a long time. I've been at Broncos games for 40 years. If a number of people walk out on the team during the game, how big an impact does that have on hot dog sales or beer sales? Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Feel that or no?
For the most part, not significantly, because I think the last couple times it's happened, it's been late in the game. I think it's more emotional.
Right.
You know, the visual you don't like to see. You want to feel like the fans are going to stay there until the final horn, the final whistle. So it's more emotional than financial, but it's definitely something we're focused on.
Okay, and pardon the lack of reverence to this question, but you said you've seen people here. Have they asked you to fix it?
No. People have been for the most part very, very positive.
Okay.
Yeah, very positive.
What would you say the mood of ownership is right now?
I don't know that I can tell you what's in their head and what their mood is, but I can tell you they're incredibly engaged. Like I said, they want this franchise to be successful on and off the field, and so my interactions with them again are daily, and they're incredibly focused on making this the best, as you said, best team to play for, work for, and cheer for.
As you
For a
collect
few
all
more
that
for Damani.
data from games and fan experience and all that, how much do you expect of that, or how much does that go into the longer range conversation about Empower Field, whether to build a new stadium, that entire conversation? I mean, does what happens in the stadium and with fans' experience in that stadium help guide that decision long term?
Yeah, I think the long-term decision is one, it's long-term.
Yeah.
I think ownership is going to drive that. I think our focus is more about how do we make improvements week to week and year to year. And the fan experience, when we send out surveys, right? We get hundreds of surveys after every game. The feedback we get from that certainly impacts what we try to do in the following week, but also as we think about plans for next year.
Damani, we saw
Last one, Nick.
Lewis Hamilton attend his first game in Los Angeles. What opportunity have you had to kind of talk with him? He's done a couple brief interviews we've seen, but what's just been your kind of impression of his involvement?
Yeah, it was great to spend time with him during pregame, him getting a chance to see the players up close, see the action up close. He remarked on just how big and physical and fast they were. And then spending time with him during the game. He asked a lot of questions. He asked questions of me operationally. It wasn't our stadium, obviously, but sort of, how many people are here and, what are the different, seating boxes and how do these things work? And spent a lot of time with Rob and Greg and Carrie, I think, asking them a lot of questions. We have a great ownership group of just world-class people. And for me, it's really exciting just to be able to interact with them and learn from them.